Hello, this is Tara Simkins, and welcome to episode 88 of the Solutions Podcast. And this is the final installment in one, two, three, four, five, a five-part series that was inspired from a video I saw on YouTube of lessons a 92-year-old woman wished that someone had taught her when she was in her 50s and 60s. And in the last episode, the episode before this episode, we talked about relationships and presence. And the final two lessons, we're going to go a little deeper. We're going to talk about fear and time, two things that shape how we live, whether we realize it or not. So listen to the introduction, and I'll meet you back on the other side.
Einstein said, "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them." Most everyone in the world is solving their problems the wrong way. Our problems come from our thinking, and we can solve them with our thinking. So, whether you're at your lowest, just trying to grow, or whether you are trying to sustain growth over your lifetime, join us as we push the boundaries of our current thinking and redefine how we find solutions.
The hope and the strength and the love and the smiles and the laughter of friends and family. Add it up, you'll find no limit to the possibilities.
Lesson 9, fear doesn't end you. This lesson is simple but powerful. You are going to be scared, and courage is doing it anyway, whatever that thing is that you're scared about. What struck me most about this lesson was not that the woman was afraid. It was that everything she feared actually happened. Loss, illness, change, even eventually becoming dependent upon those who used to be dependent upon her. And she was still here and still herself. This is such an important reframe for us because most people believe if I worry about it, if I worry about those things happening, then I'll be prepared for them. I have a coach back in the day, actually, the coach who certified me, who had a saying that worry pretends to be necessary because worry doesn't prepare you. Experience prepares you. The truth is, you are not trying to avoid fear. You're learning that you can survive what you fear, and sometimes even the things that you fear the most. And when you truly begin to believe that, this feeling in my body, this tightness in my chest, this like butterflies in my stomach, this uncomfortableness, when you start to, I like to teach, place your hand over your heart, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and are able to know it and name it as fear, and know fear as a very natural part of the human condition, you can begin to stop organizing your life around avoiding things that you fear and start living your life knowing that you can walk into the things that you fear. In the Press On Fund, which is the pediatric cancer research fund that my family is involved in, along with 2 other families, we had just a fabulous supporter that used to take images that we would talk about and make charms for us to share for people to buy, and the money would go to childhood cancer research. And she got those images from things that we wrote. We would write blog posts. And one of my friends wrote a blog post when her son Patrick was relapsing for about the third or fourth time. And she conjured a lot of courage from this image of a buffalo. And I don't know if you know this story about the buffalo, but the American buffalo, when a storm comes, turns and faces the storm and walks into the storm. And at that point in their family's pediatric cancer journey, what she was trying to embody for herself was to be able to summon the type of courage that would allow her to turn and face this new relapse, that with that spirit of a buffalo that instinctively walks into the storm. And I even shared that story again during COVID. And I remember one of my cousins sent me an email and she said, "Tara, do y'all still have those charms?" And I was like, "I do have a couple of them." And she said, "Could I get 3 of the buffalo charms?" I was like, "Yeah." And then several years later, we were visiting my cousins, and her husband showed me that he had a buffalo tattooed on his bicep. Um, and what he shared with me was that story of knowing that sometimes we have to summon the courage to face our fears and be willing to walk straight into the thing that we fear the most. That sometimes that's required of us in life, that we just can't. And I think this is what the buffalo instinctively knew on the plains of Western America. There are some storms you simply cannot outrun, and that the fastest way through the storm is just to walk into it. And so that is kind of what I took away from this lesson that this 92-year-old woman was sharing, is that when you walk into the final years of your life, you're going to have to do it with that spirit of a buffalo, saying, "This is the thing I've been trying to outrun, and I can no longer outrun it." And with a type of dignity and pride in the courage that you can summon. And again, maybe with a little wobbliness on the inside of you, and a pounding of your chest and a constricting of your throat, you just walk right into it. And this leads us into the final lesson. And this one is the one that I think I have continually been learning over the last 20, almost 25, 30 years of my life. And this is the lesson that to pay attention. And at this stage, it means something differently than it did 25 and 30 years ago. 25 and 30 years ago, in my 30s, life was really super busy and super fast. And I had tiny little kids, and I was married and a partner in a law firm and doing all of this community work, and big, big, big dreams still. And I needed to learn how to pay attention then, because I didn't want to, which is what we discussed in the last episode, I didn't want to forget about that time, because I knew that there was something so special about when my kids were young, and I didn't want to miss it. So I wanted to start paying attention. And that skill set has served me brilliantly over the last 25 to 30 years. But as I sit here before you today on the threshold, I'm sometimes I just get my words and vowels a little mixed up, people. And perhaps you do too. Just let this be a little signal to you that whatever it is that you want to do in your life, just do it. You don't have to do it perfectly. I stumble on my words on this podcast all the time. So just let that be a little courage for you. But in this case, I'm sitting at the age of 59 on the threshold of 60. And what this lady said is the last 30 years are going to go faster than the first 60 years. And maybe I can stretch that out to 40 years, but this next chapter is going to be the fastest of all the chapters. And we hear that and think, oh, that's scary, or that's stressful, or oh my gosh. But that's not actually the message. The message is simply to pay attention, because life doesn't necessarily go fast, but it does go unnoticed. When everything feels familiar, we can stop seeing it. Days blur, seasons pass, years collapse into each other, and suddenly we look back and think, where did it all go? But it didn't go anywhere. We just weren't fully there for it. And to me, that is what's always driven this desire to pay attention, because I think at the end of the day, a life well lived is a life well loved. And in order to love your life fully, it requires you to pay attention to it. So this isn't about urgency, it's about awareness. Pay attention to your life, to your people, to your moments, and to what matters. Say, I love you, make the call, take the trip, not because time is running out, but because this is your life and it's happening right now. If you could sit across from your future self, she would not tell you to do more. She would say, pay attention, be present, stop carrying what isn't yours, and actually be here while you're here. That's the work. And it's the work we practice inside the Soul Shine Labs all the time. And I was talking to someone recently who is a new member, and she was sharing with me, she said, Tara, I think that learning to be present and to be mindful, to have awareness of what's going on in our lives is something that has been very, very important to me. And I know that that's just the beginning, that it really just begins with awareness, and that there's something beyond the awareness to have. And what I think is beyond the awareness at this stage in my life, I shared with her, is just learning how much of the younger version of me is still very present in my 59-year-old body, and how much the younger version of my husband is still present in his 62-year-old body. And that when we have disagreements or hard conversations, how often those younger versions of ourselves are the versions of ourselves showing up. And I think so much about this stage of midlife is about getting to know those younger parts of us that are just the developmentally younger versions that are still, I don't want to say trapped in our bodies, but are still very present in our bodies. and to be able to recognize those younger versions, to heal them, to set them free, to be the wiser, compassionate, loving adult that they have simply been waiting for, to heal them and let them know that it is safe to relax and enjoy this part of their lives, that it's safe to have hard conversations, that it is safe to walk into those storms like the buffalo, that it is safe to just be a human in the world today. So that's the work, my friend. And if this episode spoke to you, please make sure you are subscribed. It's super easy. You just hit the bookmark at the top if you're on the Apple Podcast app or Spotify. You know how to subscribe to a podcast on Spotify and YouTube as well. And also, you know how to share it. And I would ask that the next thing you do is share this episode with someone you love, because that's how we tell the algorithm to also share these episodes and suggest them to more people. It's because of all of the shares that they get. So that is something that you could do for me, and I would dearly appreciate it. And speaking of appreciation, thank you. I know your time is valuable, and I know your time is precious. And I want to thank you for giving me and sharing so much of your time with me and listening to this podcast. So go forth, have a beautiful day, and remember, you can do and face those fears, and you are amazing. So until next time.
'Cause I ain't done living the life I'm meant to lead. And I ain't done loving the ones who cared for me. The hope and the strength and the love and the smiles and the laughter of friends and family. Add it up, you'll find no limit to the possibilities. The left and the right and some faith in the fight, and your courage is all